I find wolves just completely fascinating. The struggle they have to go through to make a go of it. I wanted to tell the public about that particular story. I'm Bob Landis, camera, and one of the producers of In the Valley of the Wolves. Well, I've had a lot of experience with wolves over the years, but I've always dreamed of what it would be like to have wolves in Yellowstone. And then finally, in 1995, wolves were introduced into the park, and I had the opportunity to actually experience what wolves would be like in Yellowstone. And it's been an amazing story. In the Valley of the Wolves is the third film I've produced on Yellowstone wolves. And since the last one, which was finished in 2002, I've been filming almost daily on wolves and as well as other animals here in Yellowstone. And this particular film is different in many ways than the first two films that we did. First of all, there are no humans in it. This is just a wolf story rather than a human reintroduction of the wolf story. So we see the conflict between packs, we see predation, we see how it affects the other animals, as well as telling an intimate story of a particular pack, the Druid Peak Pack. Druids are particularly of importance to the general public, as well as to me as a filmmaker, because they're very visible. They operate in the Lamar Valley, which is a wide open, almost treeless valley. They have often become used to humans to a certain extent. They tolerate the road to a certain extent, so that we can literally watch from a vantage point for the whole day and watch this pack hunt, take care of their pups, play, or just sleep most of the time. And no other pack in the park is quite that visible. So this is a rare opportunity, really, the only opportunity to see wild wolves in a temperate climate anywhere in the world for the last 70 years until they came back to Yellowstone. The fascinations of the filming of wolves is you're dealing with individuals, and every one of them has their own personality. And partly through the collaring program here in the park, we were able to sometimes identify those individuals at a great distance. And so we have some real characters. There's 21, who's kind of the old man of the pack, sort of a happy-go-lucky alpha male who would tolerate intruders at times, and yet would defend his territory when needed. Very stocky-looking animal. You have Theo 2. When we first saw him, he was uncollared, but we had no idea where he was coming from. He acted like no other wolf we'd seen before, in the sense that he would come into the pack and wasn't necessarily trying to mate with the females, but at least meet and greet with the females. And usually in a pack situations where an intruder comes in and starts messing with the females, it gets killed if it sticks around. When I'm out in the field, quite often I'm asked, well, how many hours have you put in on this particular project? And I kind of look at them and I say, hours? Because usually I spend up to 300 days in the field. This is 4 years, so multiply 4 times 300, that's about 1,200 days of actual field time. This is the only way that you can really get those unique sequences, because you never know when they're going to happen, and they don't happen very often. The sequence where two packs come together, fighting over territory, a predation sequence, so it's absolutely essential for them to be out every day. There's a very intense research program going on about these wolves, and I work hand in hand with the researchers here in the park, and I often think of them as being the fodder for my scripts, because they provide all the hardcore data. The locations of where those wolves are at, how many pups they have, was all derived from the research that's been done here in the park. I try to return some of that help by sharing the video. I mean, it's just like the game videos when I was coaching. For example, we used to look at a play after play and try to analyze where did this player go wrong, what did he do right. And you can do the same thing now with the video we take of the wolves, so we can see, well, how did they prey on these animals? But also the films are used to educate the public and to also raise money for the Wolf Project, which is extremely expensive to operate. In this particular film, as in many that I've done, some of my favorite scenes are the ones not dealing with the main subject. And my favorite scene in this one is one of some waxwings that fly up on a branch in a snowstorm. And it's so representative of what we feel in the middle of the winter. Certainly the eagle taking a piece of food from a coyote and in mid-flight was very unexpected, very unplanned. It swoops down and just takes it almost like it was catching a fish out the water, and it's so unexpected both for the audience and for the cameraman. For me, like when I filmed that, I had no idea that was going to happen. And for that particular, it was shot on film, so I had to wait 3 or 4 months to see the tape, the transfer tape, to see exactly what did happen. We didn't really know that perhaps the coyote had dropped a piece of meat and the eagle picked it up. It was far more exciting to see it happen on film, and then we got it right out of the mouth of that coyote. And that expression on the coyote is something you wouldn't pick up unless you could see it on film and you could replay it. And The Valley of the Wolves is an extremely honest film. It represents what I feel actually happened. I mean, it's compressed because of time compression, 3 years into a 50-minute film. But it's also a film in which the wolf is portrayed in a fairly honest way. You see it killing, as it must, and as an animal that is just part of the ecosystem, part of the environment. It belongs here. It's always been here, except for when man removed it. It's interesting to note, I think, the 2 sequences that were used in The Valley of the Wolves that show predation. On the one hand, when we finally chase down this calf in the winter, it goes behind a very large sagebrush, so we don't see the actual kill. And to me, that's the ideal filming situation, because we knew it's happening, but we're spared that traumatic experience of the life and death struggle. In years past, I would have felt cheated in that situation. I would have felt, oh, I lost the kill, lost the opportunity to actually show the blood and guts. And I don't feel that way anymore. I've done filming, I've done complete shows over the last 10 or 12 years, but working with nature is just a completely different experience than those others. Of course, there's no advertising on nature, so you don't have to develop a story that's gonna stop every 15 minutes to have an advertisement. But more important from that, there are very few places that you can do a pure natural history film today in the current market. Nature probably the only one in the United States. They're willing to tell the story, not over dramatize, and allow it to just flow. All those things happen on a PBS station. They happen on nature.